Good afternoon. My name is Adetola Salau. I am currently the Senior Special Assistant on STEM Education to the Governor of Lagos State. I am also the founder of Charisma for Your Educational Foundation, a social innovation enterprise that focuses on getting our African youth future ready. I will be discussing the business of STEM education and its relevance. Welcome. I'm really excited about talking about STEM education because I always say you cannot have high-tech infrastructure without science, serious science behind it. You cannot have scientific mind without education. Basically, human infrastructure begets human infrastructure. So they tie in hand. Again, I'll repeat that so that we understand how important it is. Human infrastructure begets human infrastructure. So we put in the education and then we're able to get scientific minds that are able to create this infrastructure that we need. So today we're going to be delving into what STEM education is, its importance on our global economy, its relevance, especially now during these pandemic times, and how do you leverage on its importance. There are over 7 billion people on planet Earth, and out of that 7 billion people, 4.6 billion of them are currently on the internet. And we also have 4.6 billion devices being used by people on planet Earth. I just want those numbers to sink in. Facebook has more than 2.6 billion users. There are over 3.5 billion searches on Google every single day. We are currently preparing students for jobs that are not going to that don't exist at all right now. And they are going to be solving problems that also don't exist right now. This is the premise of what STEM education is about. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I'll take it again. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, STEM. In the 21st century, it's no longer about rote knowledge. It's more about application of knowledge. That's where STEM comes in handy. STEM is about a hands-on approach for solving problems. We're now talking about innovations in this century. You will notice it's no longer about coming to work and just doing your job, but more about solving problems. This is a mindset that we want to equip our students with. We want to equip them with a hands-on method of solving problems and creating innovations. That was why the 4 skills that were mentioned previously are really critical for our students: critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. STEM education is important because the global economy is changing. If we look at things, 20 years ago, there were no jobs like digital media specialist, media marketer, app developer. The landscape of jobs is changing. Also, the way we're utilizing technology has totally changed. Technology is infused in all areas of our lives. If I were to take anyone's phone from them right now, they will actually feel incapacitated in today's world. Technology has been so infused into every aspect of our daily lives. This is why STEM is critical for our students in today's world. In the slide that you're going to see, you will see that employers are demanding for more STEM qualified individuals. And this is only going to increase in the future. Everyone interacts with various apps on their phone in today's world. We need more programmers and what we call coders now. We also need more people who are versatile in solving problems. This is where our STEM skills come in handy. The future of work in Nigeria. The future of work in Nigeria would definitely be affected by STEM education. The kind of work that will be available to Nigerians, the nature of the existing kind of work that they are going to do, and the ways that employers will also structure these jobs that they will have. All of them come down to the STEM skills that the employees will have in proportion to what the employers need. The Future of Work in Nigeria report was created by the Passion Incubator. In this report, there was a clear mention of a need to close the skills gap in Nigeria. This is where the business of STEM education comes in handy. There is a clear need to close this skills gap. People who are able to step in and equip our youth, and our youth are, in our definition, according to the World Economic Forum, people from the ages 15 to 35, to equip them with the necessary skills that they will need in this future that is already here. I must not fail to also mention how relevant STEM has also been shown to be during this pandemic crisis. As we all know, we need a lot of health workers who are really equipped with STEM skills: medical, nurses, the researchers, the engineers. Everybody has to work in tandem. We need their help in being able to slow down the virus. And as we can imagine, we need professors, we need educators, we need people who step in to equip them with these skills. And then they'll be able to take care of the sick and also be able to create equipment we need for protecting the frontline workers who I just mentioned, the nurses, our doctors, our emergency operators. All of these people will need equipment to make sure that they are protected when they are taking care of people who are in the front line. When I think about how important STEM education is, I think about my experiences in my life, and I think about how we need to close this gap that our youth here in Nigeria have, in contrast to what occurs in developed nations. I'm reminded of the time when my family relocated to the United States, and I had just finished secondary school, and we went over there. My background is in chemistry, and my master's degree is in engineering. And when I was taking my science classes for my chemistry degree, initially I thought it was the way we do our learning here in Nigeria, where I'll take my textbook, we'll review, I'll go to my class, we'll have a test, I'll pour out what the teacher tells me, I'll pour out what I read in my textbooks. I had no idea of how hands-on science learning was over there. So imagine my surprise, my first day when I went to my lab, to a class, and my teacher now directed us to go to the laboratory. And on getting there, she asked us to set up our apparatus and carry out a simple filtration experiment that she felt that we've already done in secondary school. Unfortunately, I had never had any experience in using lab apparatus when I was here in Nigeria. A lot of the experience that I had with lab was just alternative to practical, where we took what we learned in the textbooks and applied it to a situation, a question, and then we used that to take our WAEC, which is the equivalent of what they call the diploma in the developed nations. Well, I'm sure you can almost guess what happened. She asked us to turn on the Bunsen burners and put our beakers, and then also put our chemicals into those little flasks. The first problem that I encountered, or will I call it challenge, because a lot of it is challenge in life, was turning on that Bunsen burner properly, because there is the right way to do it without creating a huge diversion. Unfortunately, because I had never had any experience turning it on, I turned it on the whole way, and I kept trying to strike and strike and strike the the equipment that we had that we used to turn it on. And let me tell you, because I had left it on so long and I didn't keep it as little as it was supposed to be, the gas, you're not supposed to let a whole stream come out. It's supposed to be a little stream at first. And eventually, when you're able to turn it on and then you're able to control it, then you now increase how much of it you allow to come out. But I had no idea what to do, and I was completely out of my element. And here I was, I just struck it, and boom, the gas just exploded. Because remember, the gas had been already let loose, and I wasn't controlling it, and I just clicked, and wow. And I remember just stepping aback in fear, because here I was, this big stream of fire in front of me. And of course, my colleagues, my classmates were all shocked and amazed that where is this coming from? Why couldn't you do this? And my chemistry teacher came and rebuked me and said, "What are you doing?" And I remember feeling so horrible that a simple procedure as turning on the Bunsen burner, not even carrying out the real work that I was supposed to do, the experiments, I couldn't even do that right. And she asked me to take a time out, compose myself outside. And when I was outside, I remember thinking, why didn't any of our teachers equip us with these skills where we were able to actually carry out the real hands-on science experiments instead of just reading and reciting back what we were given? And I know that that was a turning point for me. Anytime I look back, I know that was a turning point for me, that it's really important that we equip our students with these skills to be able to carry out this work hands-on, be able to use their hands to actually carry out science work, not just guess or postulate from what someone else has said, but actually think and carry it out by themselves. There's nothing that replaces that. When I think about what it is that we need to do here and how we can get our students up to par with those that are in those other clients, it comes down to making sure that we are able to close this skills gap. So whenever we talk about STEM education, whenever we talk about how important it is really important we talk about making sure that we equip our students, even if it's with simple equipment, that they're able to carry out hands-on experiments themselves. I don't want us to focus on the doom and gloom. Yes, I share the personal experience. It's something that actually I look at it as, like I said earlier, a turning point. It actually turned what could have been a crisis in my life where, oh my God, am I really sure I could be a scientist? To me, becoming a stronger science student, I actually took the time to make sure I learned the procedures from my teacher as well as my classmates. And then from that, I also became a better science student by studying and watching them. So I want us to not focus so much on the crisis and, oh, the fact that we don't have these skills, our students don't have the equipment. I want us to see the opportunity in that. A lot of our students are brilliant. They're really good. In fact, I tell people, the people who are out there don't have 5 heads. They have 1 head, just like our students have 1 head. In fact, let's even really take it to another notch. Because of the adverse circumstances in which our students are here in Nigeria and Africa as a whole, there's a hunger and a desire to actually make sure that they build themselves and they're able to compete with everybody else. So when they're giving whatever little that they're giving so that they can start working and start building themselves, you find out that they just absorb and grasp and they're ready and they run with it and they actually excel. I tell people that I have never gone to any campus when I was in the United States for any graduation ceremony where I never saw Nigerians either taking first place, second place, or third place awards. They were always excelling. So that tells me that it really comes down to us making sure that we're closing this gap, equipping them and building them. That it will really be relevant for us creating the kind of future that we want here in Nigeria. So what are the opportunities? The opportunities are we build our students in various areas. And of course, the one area that we are all talking about over and over and over right now is health. Tech companies can collaborate with health providers to create PPEs, to create this equipment. That's a problem that our students can solve. In fact, right now, I am seated at the Ministry of Education at Alausa Secretariat. When you walk into our building, you will see equipment that was designed by our students at our polytechnic, Lapo Polytechnic, which is controlled by Lagos State. The students created this apparatus where you come through it and you are fumigated and you are also, how would I put it? You are kind of cleansed before you come into the contact with other people. And then as you also enter into the building, there's another equipment that also scans your temperature. Then as you go further down, there's also equipment to dispense some sanitizer so that you can actually clean your hands. You see, these are students who actually sat down and thought about the problems that we have. How do you minimize contact? Instead of having someone who will probably have to spray and fumigate, you just walk through that and it automatically does it for you. Instead of having someone that will hold the temperature reader, it's there automatically to just scan you. And then instead of having someone who has to hold a bottle or squeeze something in your hands, that also automatically dispenses it to you. So you see, that was a problem, and students sat down and they designed apparatus around that problem to solve that problem. That's what we need to do in a crisis like this. We need to start deploying, these are the problems. How do we go about solving them? What are the things we need to do solving them? That is the biggest thing about solving our skills gap. Instead of having to always import solutions from overseas all the time, we can sit down here with our students and give them the know-how and have them go out and try iterations of their own solutions. Speaking about tech, another area will be also having them create simple solutions like using really simple equipment to put together robots that could deliver, say, for example, you were in a hospital or in an area where the pandemic or any other illness was rapidly spreading, and people were trying to minimize contact and were like, oh, I don't want anyone touching me. These robots could actually pass things to the frontline workers or to other members of society who just wanted to get something from that area and go. Our students should be able to be built up to be able to create this kind of solutions. Unfortunately, we do have programs here in Nigeria that already are working on this. We're just asking for more people to come into this kind of business where they will work with our students on being able to deploy and work with these kind of programmable robots who can do this. Another thing will be also creating more innovation in manufacturing. When I say robots, I'm also thinking of manufacturing too. How do we start creating solutions ourselves? I'm remembering when the pandemic was at its worst during the lockdown and we couldn't import gloves or the masks. Indigenous solutions started being created right here on ground. We just launched here in Lagos State, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, a couple of people who created their own face masks here in Lagos State using materials that we have here. Same with the gloves. They use rubber and other materials that we have here to create gloves. These are things that our students can do right here in our own country instead of waiting for materials that are imported from overseas. When I think about STEM, I think about the opportunities that come around it. I think about how we can empower our students. And I think about the economic opportunities that abound around it. Previously, I had mentioned how when we are using our phones, we're majorly using apps to interact and carry out various activities. A lot of our young ones now are creating these apps, and these apps have ended up being time savers, and we utilize them in solving different problems that we have in our day-to-day lives. Fortunately, a lot of these young people have turned around and been able to empower themselves economically through the usage of these apps. In fact, there's so many that I'm thinking of right now. Where are their names not coming to me at the moment? But there are people here. Yes, of course. Flutterwave is one of them. Paystack. I knew they were going to come to me. Those were created by people here in Nigeria, here in Lagos. And they've made a lot of money and they've made life simpler for our users here. Paystack, instead of us waiting for PayPal so that we can be able to pay for things online and be able to procure things online, shipping things, you just use Paystack online. You use your bank card or your account number, and you're good to go. These are areas that our youth are going to be able to exploit in the future as they look at challenges around us and they say, you know what, maybe I can create an app around that. Maybe I can create an interface around that. And before you know what's happening, they've solved that problem. They're employing a lot of people. Opportunities right there. These are areas that we have to leverage upon. As you will see on the slide that we're going to share, the hardest thing right now is reskilling of everyone, workers, students, the entire globe, remotely. Everyone has to adjust to this new normal. Tech companies are working tirelessly to bridge that gap because a lot of us are not in physical buildings where we are in school, where we're in classes and we're learning. As we all know, Zoom, the creators of Zoom are all billionaires now. And we have Google Classroom that a lot of schools are also deploying to teach our students. And then, of course, Google jumped on the bandwagon and they created their own Meets. We have, I just saw this morning that Yahoo also created their own platform where you can also go online. Microsoft has Teams. And then you have Skype and all the other platforms. And then all the online learning platforms like Udera, Coursera, Udemy, who am I missing? Khan Academy. They're also seeing an upsurge in people going online and equipping themselves with various certificates so that they can be skilled in various areas and say, you know what, I can do this, especially as a lot of people, unfortunately, with the current crisis are losing their jobs. They're saying, you know what, I want to be skilled in this and I want to be skilled in that. So it goes back again to what I have mentioned previously about our students being able to create apps, being able to create these platforms. In fact, one of the things that we are working currently right now here in Lagos State is partnering with Oracle as well as a plethora of other organizations to see how we can bring this learning of coding, programming skills where our students can actually say, you know what, I'm going to create this kind of platform, I'm going to create this kind of solution around these challenges we have around us. It's really, really important that if you're somebody who is a technological enthusiast, or you actually are very skilled in creating these kind of platforms, you say, you know what, I'm really good at this. I can create this. I can make a solution around this. I can also teach our students. You'll be surprised. You might not be the next Elon Musk, or who are the other people, Bill Gates, but you will also be very comfortable right now. You're able to do something like that right now. On this slide, you will see the market valuation of Zoom compared to Southwest Airlines, Delta Airlines, United Airlines, Lufthansa, Air France. Zoom is currently has a valuation of over $48 billion. Southwest Airlines has a valuation of $14 billion. Delta, who is also their strongest competitor, has a valuation of $12 billion. We have United Airlines, which is another big airline in the US, of $5 billion. So imagine Southwest is 1/3 the valuation of Zoom. Why is Zoom valued so highly? Because everyone literally right now in the world is on Zoom. Everyone. In fact, immediately you look at a webinar, I would say out of 10 times, at least 7 to probably 8.5 of them would definitely be on Zoom. That's why their valuation is so high. And that's why I had mentioned that those guys are billionaires right now. So imagine if you were someone last year and you said, you know what, I want to create this platform. I want people to use it to be able to go online and be able to see each other. They're able to share slides, they're able to talk to each other, and they'll be able to learn. Imagine if you had something that was really secure, because one of the criticisms of Zoom right now is that they are not really as secure as they should be. Imagine if you had done something. You could be competing with Zoom right now. You could be making all that money. Those are STEM skills that this, Zoom owners utilize. They solve the problem. They said, you know what, this right now, one of the key ways that the world has to reach each other is by communicating across borders. Because we can have people here. Earlier today, I was speaking with people in Korea. I'm here in Lagos, Nigeria, and yet I was speaking to those people in Korea. And it was as if we were speaking to each other. We were in the same room speaking to each other, asking each other questions in real time. There was no lag. There was no, what did you say again? It was direct and interactive. Imagine if you had done something like that. You could be a billionaire right now too. Who knows? What are the hot industries that you need to make sure you utilize your STEM skills for? As I was coming in this morning, I was listening to people make jokes about currency. And in particular, of course, our currency here in Nigeria. And they were talking about the its current fluctuation, especially in regards to what's been happening this year with the crisis. And one of the things that one of them had mentioned was the fact that people should start investing in various currencies. And then one of them, of course, started discussing cryptocurrency. That was created by people who were really versatile with their STEM skills. In fact, I had met one of them when I was in Australia 3 years ago. And I can't remember the name of the cryptocurrency. Besides, I don't want to be endorsing or talking about any of them right now. But the point is, he created one and he was talking about how they were using it as a form of exchange. If you are in one country, let's say you're in Poland, and then we are in Nigeria, if you don't want to start talking about, okay, my currency is this, my currency is that, how do we exchange? You just say, you know what, I have this, I'm going to exchange with you for this, and I'm going to exchange with you for that. And that's what worked for them. Whether we like it or not, that's going to be one of the top trends coming up in the world. Because remember, what is money? Money is just simply a form of exchange. Another thing would be smart cities. I was in Dubai 2 years ago. And in Dubai, some of their trains, yes, I remember correctly, some of their trains are no longer manned by operators. That is, they don't have people who are actually driving the trains and telling people, okay, this is your stop. It's fully automated. So a lot of cities now around the world are moving and evolving towards that. They want to be smarter, where they are incorporating more technology for the day-to-day running of various things in the city. I just mentioned transportation. Some of them are making sure with food delivery, with water, different areas. One of our goals here in Lagos is also for Lagos to be a smart city. And we're going to need more people who have versatile STEM skills to be able to make this a reality. Of course, we cannot fail to not mention artificial intelligence, which is something that we're all using to be able to use our phones. When you go on Google, you will notice that a lot of times, before you even finish typing the word you're searching for, it fills in the rest for you. That's an algorithm. And those are created by, I know I keep coming back to our programmers, they're created by them. And what they do is they begin to see trends and they see patterns that people have been using. So they're able to predict. That's what artificial intelligence is. It's just predicting patterns in human behavior. If you're going down the street, since you were little, you've already been programmed to know that if you are going down the street and the light is red, that means you are supposed to stop. If it's green, you go. The same way artificial intelligence begins to notice patterns and predictions in the way we behave online. People who are really, really great in noticing that and able to write code around that for our behavior on the internet and how we use various applications on our phones, they're going to be the superstars in the future, because a lot of programs for all our equipment will be really, really modified with those. And of course, I must not fail to mention 3D printing. One of the things we used to do, and we're going to continue to do as we begin to gradually ease into more physical activities in 2020, as the pandemic begins to ease off, will be our STEM boot camps that we normally have for children. And what we used to do at those STEM boot camps, it was last year we started doing it, was teaching our students about 3D printing. And I remember one of the things that I had seen at a conference that I spoke at last year was where they had printed an entire, I think it was, what was it that they printed? They printed a shoe, they printed a bag, they printed a mouse. We're going to see more of this technology being used to create, I can't wait for this. You know what, let me just see if I can quickly make a prototype around this. Boom, we'll make it. I even believe I saw somebody print, it was a really, really simple house. I think about 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom with a 3D printer. That's what the future is going to be about now. So 3D printing is another trend that's going to be really, really big. As well as sustainable agriculture. We all need to eat, don't we? And you can see, I mentioned we have 7 billion people, more than 7 billion people on planet Earth right now. The projections are showing that in the next 20 years, we're definitely going to be over 10 billion. How are those people going to eat? We're going to have to get to a place where we're using less manual labor to create that food, to produce that food, and using more tech to produce higher yields. Those people who are actually in those areas and actually solving those problems are going to be the big, 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 big people to watch out for as we move on in the 21st century. STEM training expands learners' thinking and widens their horizons. I'm a firm believer of this because I have seen this over and over and over. 3 years ago, there was a science teacher in Abuja, and he desired for his students to stop learning chemistry just by note-taking and reciting of facts and bringing and writing that back on their tests and their exams. So he contacted our organization, the one that I founded, Charisma for You, and he wanted to procure some of the STEM kits we had so that he could use that with his students. So he did procure them, and I gave him a discount because I have a soft spot for educators. Their work, believe me, is God's work. And he used it to work with his secondary school students. And they were able to produce fantastic labs. In fact, he recorded some of them and posted them on his Facebook. I believe it was his Facebook and his Instagram. And then he applied for a program for a scholarship through NASA in the United States. And you see, people don't understand that what you share online, there is a digital footprint. People go back, they check what you've done, they see what you say, they see what you're involved in. And they saw the posts, the videos that this teacher had posted about the work he was doing with his students, the labs that these students were involved in, hands-on activities. And they were thrilled by the work he was doing. They were thrilled by how his students were so enthusiastic and joyous at the work that they were doing. And he was selected to go to Florida in the United States, to go to NASA, to actually take part in the program that they had there. When I met him when he came back from Florida, his joy was contagious. And I wasn't the one who went to Florida, but I felt like I went to Florida because he was so excited about what he had learned and how he now brought back what he had learned back to his students. Now, if he had not been carrying out these activities with his students, if he hadn't seen that this was also making his students comprehend chemistry a lot better. I really believe that his mindset wouldn't have expanded the way it had. And he wouldn't have believed that, you know what, I do think I have a shot at applying for this program. And I also know that they wouldn't have also looked at his application. They would have said, oh, we have so many people. What really makes this person such a valued asset to our program? But when they saw that he was involved in these hands-on activities with the students, and the students were really deriving a lot of great engagement and they were interacting in his classes, they selected him, and the rest is history. I keep in touch with him from time to time on LinkedIn and on Facebook. And every time I think about him, I am happy again. I'm sharing the story about this educator for people to realize there's so many ways you can tap into using STEM education as a fantastic business opportunity, because you need to equip our students with these skills. You need to make sure that they are built. There are so many ways that you can tap in and you can come in, because whether we like it or not, the world, as we all know, is now a global village. You're no longer just sitting, oh, I'm in Lagos, what's my own? That's not true. You can sit down and pick up your phone. You don't even have to pick up your laptop or go stand in some special room or equipped place. All you have to do is just pick up your phone, press on certain apps. We mentioned Skype, we mentioned Zoom, Google now, even WhatsApp. Actually, I found out last week that WhatsApp has created its own version of Zoom. They call it Rooms. So you can select a couple of your friends. I think it's up to 10 right now. I believe so. You can select those friends, or even if you're in a group, like you already know, we all are in WhatsApp groups, aren't we? And you can all get into these rooms and you can talk to each other, video and audio. So you don't necessarily have to be in the same place. This morning, I was with people in Korea. Last week, I was with people in Poland. The week before last, I was with people in the US and Belgium. I mean, we're constantly navigating and corresponding with people across the globe through the use of our phones and our laptops and our tablets, whatever these devices we all want to call them. The slide that you're also going to be seeing will talk about how previously work used to be a certain way and how work has also transcended the way we used to look at it. In fact, I can think of no perfect example than what is currently happening right now in 2020. Before it was 95, you were sitting in your office. This year, a lot of us, we all have friends, family, colleagues who are working remotely. They're either working at home or they are working in some location that is really not the office. That used to be what we called the future, but it's what we are doing right now. So you can work anywhere. And then we are more focused on what are you going to deliver. It's not about, okay, you just come to the office, okay, you just submit something and then, okay, that's it. Now, what are you going to deliver? What value are you going to add to your organization? And then your work now is customized to what abilities and skills that you have. And then we also want everyone to share information. You will notice that when you go to these Zoom meetings now, or webinars, as some people call them, it's never about you just sitting down and listening to them. Everybody has to share knowledge that they have. What do you know? What do you know? What do you have to give? What do you have to give? And then in each of these webinars, you are not a participant who is just sitting by yourself. You are a leader. You are believed to have something that you're going to contribute to the group as a whole. And then learning is very adaptive. It's not static. It's not, okay, this is it and that's all we know. In fact, what you know yesterday might actually change right now, today. And you say, you know what, let me scramble and go back. You know, I was saying, oh, we are 7 billion. I remember when about 5 years ago, we kept saying 5 billion, 6 billion people. We're over 7 billion. I'm sure if I go back and look at the stats now, they'll be telling me that care is not taking, we're going to be itching close to 8 because the rate of people populating the earth, it just keeps increasing. And then learning now is for all. Learning is not just for a select group of people. That is what these massive open courses have done. You can sit here in Nigeria, you can sit in Benin Republic, you can sit in Ghana, you can sit in Rwanda, and you can take courses in Harvard, you can take courses in those Ivy League universities. You are able to sit in those classes and learn the same materials that those so-called elite students are learning. You can, now it's up to you if you want to say, you know what, I want to get that certificate, to actually pay for the certificate, but you can learn the same thing that they're learning. So learning now is open and it's available to everyone. These are things that we all need to take advantage of. And we need to understand that the world as we know it has completely changed. Success occurs when you are prepared. You cannot just wake up and say, you know what, okay, I'm going to do it. You also have to build yourself. You also have to prepare yourself. That's what we are expecting anyone who is involved in delivering STEM education to our students, and also our end users to realize that they also, that's our students, to realize they also need to prepare themselves. Because like I said, work is remote now. It means that the work that's being done here in Nigeria, somebody who is in Belgium, in the UK, can actually do it remotely now. So we all need to be prepared. We all need to take advantages of this new ecosystem, this new normal, as we all say. And everywhere I go, I keep hearing the new normal, the new normal. We all need to take advantage of it. There are so many ways to tap into it. The key thing is to figure out what part do you want to play in it and how can you take advantage of it. I was so pleased when I saw a lot of our, what do we call them? I'll call them fashion designers here in Nigeria. When the pandemic was really looming and we couldn't get enough of those medical masks, a lot of them improvised. They said, you know what, I have what we call Ankara cloth, which is a specialized cloth that we have here in Nigeria. And they put filters. They put filters on the back of that cloth, and people wore them to protect themselves against the COVID-19 virus. These are different areas that we can tap into. Tap into various areas. Do you want to be a learning content provider? Do you want to be an app developer? Do you want to be a manufacturer? Do you want to create a solution around sustainable agriculture? Please go ahead and take advantage of this. Utilize STEM skills, build it up for our youth. You can become an employer yourself, or you can be an employee in any of these industries. But let's create the kind of future that we all desire here in Africa, where we are all economically prosperous. Thank you.